From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Canadian Jeremy Hansen is one of 4 astronauts currently circling the Earth this morning in a historic mission to the moon after Artemis II launched from Florida's Kennedy Space Center last night. Joining Hansen on his first ever space flight are veteran NASA astronauts Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook. The mission is expected to stay close to Earth today in order to test all kinds of systems before the crew fires the main engine to propel the spacecraft to the moon for a fly-around. Cook already asked Mission Control to use the toilet system.
We're thinking about calling you to see if we can use it for the next 20 minutes or so before we sleep, and instead wanted to check that assumption.
Checking. And Christina, you are good to use toilet all night.
Fellow Canadian astronauts were among the many cheering on the Artemis II liftoff. Watching from a hall inside the Canadian Space Agency in Longueuil, Quebec, David Saint-Jacques chuckled when asked if he was feeling a little jealous of Jeremy Hansen's adventure. Saint-Jacques, who launched to the International Space Station over 7 years ago, admitted, "Yes, of course." He said there isn't an astronaut around who wouldn't love to be part of this mission, but he said their job most of the time is to be on the ground supporting the missions of others, just as Hansen did for him. Iran has responded to U.S. President Donald Trump's evening address to Americans on the war with new missile attacks targeting Israel and the Gulf Arab states. Trump said U.S. forces will keep hitting Iran very hard in the next 2 to 3 weeks and bring the country back to the Stone Ages, even as he argued all of Washington's objectives have so far been met or exceeded.
In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield.
Today's attacks by Iran underline its insistence that it rejected Washington's outreach for a ceasefire while maintaining its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand isn't saying exactly how Canada might help reopen that strait. She and reps from more than 30 other countries will attend a British-hosted virtual meeting today to discuss diplomatic options to get the critical waterway open again. The Conservative Party of Canada is calling for Ottawa to drop the federal tax on gas and diesel for the rest of this year.
The Tories say their plan would eliminate the fuel excise tax at 10 cents per litre, the clean fuel standard, and the goods and services tax. Now combined, they say the cuts would save Canadians 25 cents a litre. After the year, the Conservatives say they would make the cut to the fuel standard tax a permanent one. And to pay for the tax relief, the Conservatives say they would cut what they call the Liberals' wasteful spending on the gun buyback, foreign aid, and boondoggles. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
This is The Canadian Press. In sports, the National Hockey League has its first player reaching the 50-goal mark this season, and he is Colorado's Nathan MacKinnon. MacKinnon scored in the first period of the Avalanche's 8-6 loss to the last-place Vancouver Canucks. In the NBA, the Toronto Raptors now find themselves down in 7th place in the Eastern Conference. Former Raptors DeMar DeRozan and Precious Achiuwa each scored 28 points against their ex-team in helping Sacramento win 123-115. The Toronto Blue Jays now 4-2 after their first series loss of this young baseball season. They dropped a 2-1 decision to Colorado in the rubber match of their 3-game set. The Blue Jays were next scheduled to face the White Sox in Chicago today, but weather has postponed that game until Friday. And Matt Dunstone's winning streak is up to 6 games after a 2-victory day at the World Men's Curling Championship in Utah. Canada has qualified for the playoffs. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.